The Baychimo in 1931. The Baychimo was a cargo ship sailing in the Arctic Ocean. The ship was massive, towering over the waves as it sailed towards its destination. The crew was a hardy lot, used to the harsh conditions of the Arctic, but even they were not prepared for what was about to happen. As the ship sailed through the icy waters, it became trapped in a thick sheet of ice. The crew tried everything to free the ship, but it was no use. The ice held the Baychimo captive and they were forced to abandon ship, assuming that it would sink beneath the waves. But the Baychimo refused to die. Instead, it remained afloat, drifting aimlessly through the Arctic waters. Over the years, several people spotted the ship, their eyes widening in shock as they realized what they were seeing. Some even attempted to board the ship, but the icy waters and treacherous conditions proved too dangerous. As the years went by, the legend of the Baychimo grew. It was said that the ship was cursed, that anyone who attempted to board it would never return. Others claimed that the ship was haunted, that the ghost of the crew still roamed its decks. In 1969, almost 40 years after it was abandoned, the Baychimo was spotted for the last time. A group of explorers stumbled upon the ship, drifting slowly through the icy waters. They attempted to board the ship, but as they neared it, the Baychimo suddenly disappeared into the mist, as if it had never been there at all. To this day, the fate of the Baychimo remains unknown. Some say that it still roams the Arctic, a ghost ship haunting the dreams of those who dare to sail its icy waters. Others believe that the ship finally sank beneath the waves, taking its secrets with it to the bottom of the sea. But there are some who still believe that the Baychimo is out there, drifting aimlessly through the Arctic, waiting for someone brave enough to board its decks and uncover the truth about its mysterious fate. Despite the rumors and legends surrounding the Baychimo, one man was determined to uncover the truth. His name was John, a grizzled sailor who had spent his entire life on the sea. He had heard the stories of the ghost ship and was intrigued by the mystery that surrounded it. John spent years tracking down any information he could find about the Baychimo. He pored over old records and spoke to anyone who claimed to have seen the ship. He even spent months living in the Arctic, braving the icy waters and harsh conditions in search of the elusive vessel. Finally, after years of searching, John spotted the Baychimo in the distance, his heart racing with excitement. He set out in a small boat, determined to board the ship and uncover its secrets. As he approached the Baychimo, he could feel the chill of the Arctic air on his skin. The ship loomed large in front of him, its rusted hull creaking in the icy waters. But John was undaunted. He climbed aboard the ship, his heart pounding in his chest. The ship was silent, and John felt a sense of unease as he began to explore its deserted decks. The walls were covered in frost, and the air was thick with the smell of salt water and decay. But as he made his way deeper into the ship, he realized that something was wrong. The Baychimo was not abandoned. Something was watching him, lurking in the shadows. John's heart raced as he heard footsteps echoing through the silent ship. He turned to face his attacker, but there was no one there. Suddenly, the ship began to shake violently, and John realized that he had made a terrible mistake. The Baychimo was not a ghost ship, it was alive. John stumbled backwards, his heart racing as the ship began to move. The Baychimo was no longer adrift, it was sailing with John on board. For days, John was trapped on the Baychimo, unable to escape as the ship sailed through the Arctic waters. He was alone with nothing but his fear to keep him company, and then one day the ship stopped. John stepped off the Baychimo, his legs shaking, as he realized that he had survived. The ship was silent once more, and John knew that he had uncovered the truth about the Baychimo. It was not a ghost ship, but it was cursed to sail the Arctic water forever, with anyone foolish enough to board it becoming its prisoner. As John sailed away from the Baychimo, he knew that he would never forget the experience. The ghost ship had become a part of him, haunting his dreams and reminding him of the danger that lay hidden in the icy waters of the Arctic. Years passed, and John tried to put the memory of the Baychimo behind him. He returned to his old life as a sailor, but he could never shake the feeling that he had uncovered something important. He knew that the world needed to know that the cursed ship that sailed the Arctic waters, but he didn't know how to share his story. One day, while docked in a port town, John met a young writer named Stephen. Stephen was fascinated by John's tales of the Baychimo, and he encouraged John to write a book about his experiences. John was hesitant first, but he realized that this was his chance to share the truth about the ghost ship with the world. Over the next few months, John wrote tirelessly, pouring all of his experiences and emotions onto the page. He wrote about the fear he felt on the Baychimo, the sense of isolation and dread, but he could never quite shake. He wrote about the curse that seemed to haunt the ship, and the danger that lay hidden in the Arctic waters. Finally, the book was finished, and John handed it over to Stephen to read. Stephen was blown away by the power of John's words, and he knew that this was a story that needed to be shared. He helped John publish the book, and soon it was flying off the shelves. The book was a sensation, and people all over the world were captivated by John's story. They were intrigued by the curse of the Baychimo and the danger that lay hidden in the Arctic waters. John became a celebrity overnight, and he spent the rest of his life sharing his story with anyone who would listen. But despite the success of the book, John knew that the Baychimo was still out there, sailing the Arctic waters. He knew that the curse was real, and that anyone who boarded the ship was in danger, and so he spent the rest of his life warning others about the ghost ship that still roamed the icy waters. In the end, John's legacy was not the book he had written or the fame he had achieved. It was the warning he had given to the world, a warning that would save countless lives in the years to come. The curse of the Baychimo was real, and John had made sure that no one would forget it. The Flying Dutchman. As the crew of the Hum's Victory sailed through the treacherous waters of the Cape of Good Hope, they spotted a vessel on the horizon. At first, they thought it was just another ship passing by, but it grew closer. They realized that this was no ordinary vessel. The ship was tattered and torn, with ragged sails that flapped in the wind. The wood was blackened and rotted, and there was no sign of life on board. The crew of the Victory watched as the ship sailed past them, seemingly without a care in the world. But then they saw the captain. He was a tall, imposing figure with a beard that reached down to his chest. He stood at the helm of the ship, staring straight ahead with a look of determination on his face. As the Flying Dutchman passed by, the captain of the Victory could feel a chill run down his spine. For centuries, sailors had told tales of the Flying Dutchman, a cursed vessel that was doomed to sail the seas forever. The captain of the ship was said to be a man named Vanderdecken, who had defied God and was punished by being forced to sail until Judgment Day. The ship had been seen by countless sailors over the years, and many believed that encountering the Flying Dutchman was a sign of impending doom. As the Victory sailed on, the crew couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled over them. They knew that they had seen something truly supernatural, and they feared what it might mean for their own fate. The days turned into weeks, and the crew of the Victory sailed on. Never forgetting the sight of the Flying Dutchman, they knew that they had witnessed something that few had ever seen, and that they would carry the memory with them for the rest of their lives. And as the years passed, sailors would continue to tell tales of the cursed ship that sailed the seas forever, a ghostly reminder of the dangers that lurked in the deep. The legend of the Flying Dutchman would live on, a testament to the power of the sea and the mysteries that it held. But for the crew of the Victory, the memory of the Flying Dutchman would haunt them for the rest of their days. They knew that they had witnessed something that defied explanation, and that the supernatural world was far more real than they could have ever imagined. As they sailed on, they encountered storms and rough seas, but they never forgot the sight of the cursed ship that had crossed their path. They knew that they were lucky to have survived their encounter, and that they had been given a warning of the dangers that lay ahead. Years turned into decades, and the crew of the Victory grew old and eventually passed away. But the legend of the Flying Dutchman lived on, passed down from generation to generation of sailors who knew that the sea held many secrets, and that some were best left alone. And even now, centuries after the Flying Dutchman was first spotted on the seas, sailors still tell tales of the cursed ship that sails forever, a ghostly reminder of the power of the sea and the dangers that lurk in the deep. But for those who encounter the Flying Dutchman, the warning is clear: beware the seas, for they are full of mystery and danger, and some things are better left unseen. Despite the warnings, there are still those who seek out the supernatural and the unknown. Some sailors actively search for the Flying Dutchman, hoping to catch a glimpse of the cursed ship and unlock its secrets. Others simply embrace the mystery of the seas, knowing that there is much that they will never understand. For those who dare to venture into the unknown, the legend of the Flying Dutchman serves as a warning and a reminder. The sea is a powerful force, full of mystery and danger, and those who underestimate its power do so at their. But for those who respect the sea and its mysteries, there is a sense of wonder and excitement that can only come from sailing into the unknown. The legend of the Flying Dutchman is just one of many tales that keep sailors intrigued. And as long as there are sailors brave enough to venture into the unknown, the legend of the Flying Dutchman will continue to live on, a testament to the power of the sea and the mysteries that it holds. The Mary Celeste was a ship shrouded in mystery, a vessel that would go down in history as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the sea. In the fall of 1872, the ship was found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, her sails tattered and her hull empty. 4 weeks, sailors had been keeping watch for the Mary Celeste, a ship that was long overdue to arrive at her destination in Italy. But when they finally spotted her, drifting aimlessly in the open ocean, they knew that something was terribly wrong. As they boarded the ship, the sailors were struck by the eerie silence that greeted them. There was no sign of the crew, no trace of any struggle or foul play. The ship was in good condition, her cargo intact, and yet the crew was nowhere to be found. Rumors and speculation soon began to spread about what could have happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste. Some believed that they had been taken captive by pirates or mutineers, while others suspected foul play from within the crew itself. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, the truth remained elusive. The disappearance of the crew of the Mary Celeste would remain one of the great unsolved mysteries of the sea, a haunting reminder of the dangers and mysteries that lay hidden beneath the waves. And yet, for all the speculation and theories that were put forth, one fact remained clear. The ship had been abandoned for reasons that were never fully explained. The fate of the crew of the Mary Celeste would remain a mystery, a dark shadow that would haunt the sea for years to come. For those who dared to sail the seas, the story of the Mary Celeste served as a warning and a reminder. The ocean was a place of wonder and danger, full of mysteries that would never be fully understood, and sometimes those mysteries could lead to unimaginable tragedy. But for some, the mystery of the Mary Celeste was too alluring to ignore. Over the years, many would try to uncover the truth behind the abandoned ship and its missing crew, driven by a need to understand what had happened and why. One such person was John Briggs, a writer and historian who became obsessed with the story of the Mary Celeste. For years, he pored over records and interviewed experts, trying to piece together the events that had led to the ship's abandonment. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Briggs became convinced that there was more to the story than anyone had ever realized. He believed that the crew had been the victims of a terrible tragedy, one that had been covered up and hidden from the world. Driven by his obsession, Briggs set out on a perilous journey to uncover the truth. He spent months at sea, following the path of the Mary Celeste and retracing the steps of the doomed crew. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Briggs began to experience strange and unsettling phenomena. He heard whispers and voices in the dark, felt the ghostly touch of unseen hands, and saw eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. But still he pressed on, driven by a need to uncover the truth. And in the end, he would pay a terrible price for his obsession, as he uncovered a secret so shocking that it would shake the very foundations of the maritime world. The story of the Mary Celeste is one of the great unsolved mysteries of the sea, a haunting reminder of the dangers and mysteries that lie hidden beneath the waves. And for those who seek to uncover its secrets, the journey can be both thrilling and terrifying, a reminder that sometimes the truth can be more frightening than any ghost story. As the years passed, the legend of the Mary Celeste only grew, and the mystery surrounding the abandoned ship continued to captivate the world. Many theories were put forth, from piracy and mutiny to natural disasters and sea monsters, but none could fully explain what had happened on that fateful voyage. Despite the many attempts to unravel the mystery, the fate of the crew of the Mary Celeste remains a mystery to this day. But for those who believe in ghosts and the supernatural, the story of the abandoned ship has taken on a life of its own. Over the years, countless sightings of the ghostly Mary Celeste have been reported, with sailors and fishermen claiming to have seen the ship sailing silently across the ocean, her decks empty and her sails tattered. Some say that the ship is cursed, doomed to sail the seas forever, while others believe that the spirits of the missing crew still haunt the decks, their voices echoing across the waves. But whether the legend of the Mary Celeste is true or simply a product of overactive imaginations, the story of the abandoned ship remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the sea, a haunting reminder of the dangers and mysteries that lurk beneath the waves. The Octavius. The story of the Octavius is one that has long haunted the imaginations of sailors and adventurers alike. For years, the fate of the lost ship and its crew remained a mystery, a dark and foreboding enigma that seemed to defy explanation. But for one man, the mystery of the Octavius was too alluring to resist. His name was Edward Tanner, a seasoned explorer, an adventurer who had spent his life chasing the unknown and the inexplicable. As he delved deeper into the story of the lost ship, Tanner became convinced that there was more to the tale than anyone had ever realized. He believed that the Octavius had been cursed, and that its crew had been doomed from the moment they set sail. Driven by his obsession, Tanner set out on a perilous journey to uncover the truth. He spent months at sea battling the elements and facing untold dangers as he retraced the path of the lost ship and searched for clues to its fate. As he delved deeper into the mystery, Tanner began to experience strange and unsettling phenomena. He heard whispers and voices in the dark, felt the ghostly touch of unseen hands, and saw eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. But still he pressed on, driven by a need to uncover the truth. And in the end, he would pay a terrible price for his obsession, as he uncovered a secret so shocking that it would shake the very foundations of his understanding of the world. For the Octavius was not just any ship but a vessel cursed by dark and ancient forces, a ship that had been lost not just to the sea but to time itself. And as Tanner delved deeper into the mystery, he found himself drawn into a dark and terrifying world of magic and horror. A world where the dead refused to stay dead, and where the past and present were one and the same. A shipless. The story of the Octavius is one of the great mysteries of the sea, a haunting reminder of the dangers and mysteries that lie hidden beneath the waves. And for those who seek to uncover its secrets, the journey can be both thrilling and terrifying, a reminder that sometimes the truth can be more frightening than any ghost story. As Tanner returned to civilization, he struggled to come to terms with what he had discovered. The horrors he had witnessed on his journey had left a deep and lasting mark on his psyche, and he knew that he could never fully escape the curse of the Octavius. Despite his best efforts to move on, Tanner found that he was haunted by the memory of the lost ship and by the ghost of its crew. He would wake in the night, drenched in sweat, and hear the creaking of timbers and the sound of waves crashing against the hull. But even as he struggled to find peace, Tanner knew that he had uncovered something truly remarkable. For the Octavius was more than just a ghost ship or a tale of the sea. It was a portal to a world beyond our own, a world where magic and horror were real. And though he knew that he could never fully escape the curse of the Octavius, Tanner also knew that he had been given a gift, a glimpse into a world that few would ever see. And as he watched the sun rise over the horizon, he knew that he would never forget the lost ship and its cursed crew. For in the end, the mystery of the Octavius was not one that could be fully explained or understood. It was a story that defied logic and reason, a tale of the unknown and the inexplicable, a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still secrets and mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. And though the Octavius may be lost forever to the sea, its story lives on, a haunting reminder of the power of the unknown and of the dangers that lurk beneath the waves. As Tanner's story spread, it became one of the most talked about and debated mysteries of the sea. Some dismissed it as a work of fiction, while others saw it as proof of the existence of a world beyond our own. And though many sought to unravel the secrets of the Octavius, none were able to fully explain its mysteries. As for Tanner himself, he remained haunted by the memory of the lost ship and its crew. Though he tried to move on, he could never fully escape the curse of the Octavius. He would often dream of the frozen ship and the ghostly figures that roamed its decks. And he knew that he would never be free of their haunting presence. But even as he struggled with his own demons, Tanner found that his story had touched the lives of countless others, for in the Octavius, they saw a glimpse of something greater, a reminder that there is still magic and mystery in the world, and that the sea still holds many secrets. And as Tanner watched the sun set on another day, he knew that he had been given a gift, a story that would endure long after he was gone, a tale of the unknown and the inexplicable, a reminder of the power of the sea and the mysteries that lie hidden beneath its waves. And though he would never fully understand the secrets of the Octavius, he knew that its story would live on, a haunting reminder of the mysteries that still wait to be discovered in the depths of the ocean. The SS Ourang Medan had always been a ship shrouded in mystery. No one knew its true origins or its intended destination, and few had ever seen its crew. It sailed the seas alone, a ghostly presence that seemed to drift between worlds, always just beyond the reach of those who sought to uncover its secrets. And then in 1947, the distress signal came. It was heard by sailors across the Pacific. A garbled message that spoke of trouble and fear, and though they tried to track down the source of the signal, they found nothing but open sea and silence. But the mystery of the SS Ourang Medan was far from over, for when a rescue vessel finally arrived at the scene, they found the ship adrift, its crew nowhere to be seen. There was no sign of struggle, no evidence of piracy or foul play. It was as if the crew had simply vanished into thin air. But then they found the bodies. They were scattered throughout the ship, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. Some reports even suggest that their bodies were in a state of decay, as if they had been dead for days or even weeks. As the rescue team tried to piece together what had happened, they found that the ship's cargo held a clue. Others dismissed the theory, claiming that the true cause of the crew's demise was something far more sinister. Some suggested that the ship was cursed, haunted by the ghosts of those who had died aboard it in years past. And still others whispered of more otherworldly explanations, tales of alien abductions and demonic possession that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to listen. But no matter the explanation, one thing was clear. The SS Ourang Medan was a ship that would forever be shrouded in mystery, and though countless theories and rumors would swirl around it for years to come, the true secrets of the ship would remain hidden, lost to the sea and the sands of time. As the captain and his team approached the bridge, they noticed that the entire ship was eerily quiet. There were no sounds of machinery or movement, just an unnerving silence that seemed to permeate the air. As they stepped onto the bridge, they were greeted with a sight that they would never forget. The bodies of the crew were all lying on the ground, their eyes and mouths wide open in a silent scream of terror. The captain's body was lying on the floor with one hand clutching the radio, as if he had been desperately trying to send a message before he died. The team quickly searched the ship for any signs of what had caused this tragedy, but found nothing out of the ordinary. There were no signs of violence or struggle, no signs of foul play or piracy. The ship was in good condition, and there was no evidence of any kind of accident or malfunction. As they were preparing to leave the ship, one of the team members noticed a strange smell coming from the cargo hold. Upon investigation, they found a crate containing what appeared to be some sort of glowing green crystals. The crate was marked with a warning label in a language none of the team members recognized. But as they left the ship, the team members couldn't help but feel a sense of dread and unease. They knew that they had just witnessed something truly inexplicable, something that defied all logic and reason. And as they sailed away from the SS Ourang Medan, they couldn't help but wonder what other secrets the sea held, and what other horrors awaited them in the depths below.